Hi, welcome to This Week in Ames. I'm Susan Guiazda. On today's show, we'll check in with the Ames Historic Preservation Commission. My guest today is Kim Hanna, who is the Executive Director of Campustown Action Association, but also serves a key role in our Historic Preservation Commission. Kim, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Now, I understand you serve as the chairperson.
I do. I've been in chair for about a year and a half now.
Tell me a little bit about what attracted you to the Historic Preservation Commission. What's your goal?
Sure. I joined the Historic Preservation Commission because I wanted to be involved in preservation in the Ames community. My background is historic preservation. I have a master's degree in preservation from Boston University, and both in Boston and the Twin Cities where I lived before here, I was involved in preservation organizations in both communities, and so when I moved to Ames I wanted to stay connected to my preservation background.
Sounds like a great fit for that role. We are standing here on the stage in Ames City Hall, which at one point was built as Ames High School.
That's right.
1938.
Yes, and you can tell that some of the uses are still being used. Obviously the gymnasium is still a gymnasium, the auditorium is still an auditorium, but other parts of the City Hall have really been rehabbed to work for what it's used for now, which is city offices.
So as somebody who appreciates history, do you like an adaptive reuse project? Do you think that's a good way to sort of recycle buildings?
I absolutely love adaptive reuse projects. I'm a firm believer in once you preserve a building, putting something else in so that the building is reused over and over again. I don't think that house museums are the best way to show preservation in a community, and I think that when you rehab a building and then it's used again, you're honoring the history and the future of that building.
So we talk about the auditorium really staying pretty much unchanged or being remodeled back to its original use and look and feel, the colors, the seating, new seats, but again some of the historic seats on the upper level. The building was built in 1938 as Ames High School, and as people walk in the building, right there in the original terrazzo they can see the AHS right on the floor, but there have been other changes, and it has been an exciting time for downtown.
It has. Both downtown and other areas of the community have done a really good job of preserving what they have. The downtown has their facade grant program, the Old Town Historic District, which is our only historic district in Ames. We just redid the Chapter 31 in the city ordinance so that we can incorporate more houses and into the program so that people can rehab and redo their buildings in a sensitive nature to fit in with the Old Town historic feel of the district. We just got a facade grant program in Campustown as well last night at the City Council meeting, and as a matter of fact, and one of the buildings that was selected for the facade grant is one of our oldest buildings in Campustown, which is the Cranford Apartments building where Jeff's Pizza Shop is currently, and that building was built in the 1920s, and it was designed and built by two sisters who graduated from Iowa State University's engineering program in the 19th century. So that's pretty incredible too, that we have that Iowa State and Ames history all together in one building.
I did not even realize that. That's a great story, and it will be interesting as we see growth and development in Campustown area. I love the juxtaposition of the old and the new.
I do too, and I love that we'll have the brand new buildings, but the character of the new buildings will fit in with the rest of the district due to the design that the buildings are, the way our organization worked with the developers, particularly with Kingland, to create a building that looks like individual business buildings, but is one giant building, and that's something that we worked with them on to keep the character of Lincoln Way as similar as possible while renewing it and reviving it.
One of the things that we're going to do to celebrate the 25th anniversary of City Hall as a City Hall, which is coming up on April 28th, is to recognize the building with a bronze history plaque. Now, I understand the Historic Preservation Commission, along with the Ames Historical Society and the Main Street Cultural District, are engaging in a program to promote these history plaques as a way to share the history of the buildings with the public.
So the Ames History Plaques program came out of the Ames 150 celebration last year, and so the Historic Commission is sponsoring the plaque that will go on City Hall, and then we're offering a scholarship, if you will, to fund other plaques throughout the community. and it's just a way to celebrate some of our historic buildings here in Ames with a little bit of history, a little bit of information about what used to be in that building, so that people can see that towns are always changing, they're always evolving, and it's exciting to see what it used to be and exciting to see what it is now.
So I saw sort of a first blush at the history plaque for the Ames City Hall building, and of course it doesn't say Ames City Hall. It talks what you talked about. It goes back to the history of what the building was originally intended for. Some of those ones downtown, people may be surprised. It's not what the business is, it's the original, how the building was originally built.
That's right, and it's also interesting to see how areas evolve and change and then go back to maybe what they originally were for. An example is at the corner of Lincoln Way and Welch. People's Pharmacy was the building at Lincoln Way and Welch before it was People's and before it evolved into several other kinds of buildings. And CVS is coming in and will be at that corner when the building is done. So even in other areas of the community, the constant evolution of what's there kind of can bring back what was there originally as well.
Yeah, really exciting time to be in the city, and to as these history plaques get installed, really you can take a little tour and sort of walk through the history of the community by following these plaques. And maybe at some point we'll see those on campus town buildings.
That's right, and I believe that the committee that's working on the plaques is also putting together a walking tour brochure, so that you can walk the entire length of the area of where the plaques are and see, and maybe put a little bit more information on the brochure. Obviously you can't put a paragraph of information on a small plaque that's going on a building, but I believe they're also developing perhaps a website so that you can go find out more information about what used to be there as well.
So we have some great resources in the community.
That's right.
Obviously the Ames Historical Society, Ames Historic Preservation Commission does a lot of work again to maintain that wealth of knowledge about Ames history and its buildings and its people. Again, celebrating the 25th anniversary on April 28th. I think you'll be there, right?
I will be there. I will be there with bells on. I'm excited to celebrate.
Yeah, that is 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. There'll be cake in the front foyer of City Hall with a brief program at 11:30. And we'll see members of the Historic Preservation Commission there, as well as Main Street Cultural District, Ames Historical Society, and obviously our residents of Ames are invited to attend. Kim, it sounds like you have quite an interest in history. Again, a great role for you to be in as a volunteer, and we thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And thank you for stopping by.
All right, thank you very much for having me.
Again, if you'd like more information about the open house celebrating the Ames City Hall's 25th anniversary, that information is on our website at cityofames.org. Also remember, it is from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. with a brief program at 11:30. If you want more information about what's happening at the City of Ames, always remember you can find us on Facebook and Twitter, also on YouTube. Well, that's our show for today. Thanks for watching, and tune in next week for This Week in Ames.